What's going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in for another episode of JB Trickle RC. Got a unique episode for you, and the first of what I hope is going to become a fairly regular series on the channel. But I have with me Paul Peterson of Shark Bodies LLC. Paul, thank you for joining me for this episode. I'm glad to have you on.
Thanks a lot, JB. I appreciate it. This is interesting being the first one, right?
Oh, yeah. We're going to have some fun with it. We're going to do some Q&A, and we'll have a good time. I know I've talked to you in Messenger several times over the past couple of years. We've been joking around and sent you some pictures of my shark bodies. That's something I want everybody to know. I'm happy to have you on as my first guest, not just because you're a RC body manufacturer, but, I support your product. I like running your product. In fact, I've got 2 years mounted on two of my Traxxas right now. So it's good to have you on.
Awesome. So we got to do that. We got to get JB in one of these.
That's right. So that just to clarify, Paul, that is the newest Nightmare late model body that you released, correct?
Correct. There's original Nightmare. When I bought the company from C&M 4 years ago, we had it came with the Nightmare, and the Nightmare was like a 9.5-inch wide body,
right,
which is kind of more like foam tire, old technology in a way for the cars. So when I decided to kind of retire the body, so we still have the Volunteer, which is another buggy, late model body 110. When I decided to do the Nightmare 2020, everybody's going to ask the question, why is it 2020? Because it was actually started in 2020. And hey, Nightmare 2020 was a nightmare year for us anyway, too. So what I did is I decided, since it was original from the company, I just wanted to stick with the name. So the original Nightmares, I don't know, I think the Nightmare HD or something. I don't think anybody's running them anymore. And now we just have the Nightmare 2020. We just call it the Nightmare. But yeah, it's a 10-inch, 10 and a quarter actually, 10 and a quarter inch wide body in areas. And it fits more of the blue skirt cars and everything, the carbon cars and everything like that. But
okay.
It's going to fit just a regular buggy car too. Just like a V6, stuff like that. So
right. Yeah, I remember whenever you were first showing some of the teaser pictures of that car on the release, I was instantly a huge fan of the front end of that car and the nose and everything. Yeah.
It's got the nose and snout for the cars. I haven't raced my car yet. This is new for me. Rick Putnam did this from P3 Designs.
Right.
Rick designed this from P3 Designs, and so he did the body. Some of the characteristics about this body is we have a hump over here, kind of like the real car. That does is a blue skirt, depending upon how soft you run your front, is allows clearing the tire and goes up into the wheel well more, so you have less chance for a tire run. But like I was saying, I didn't race this car yet, but I raced the UFO version, which is basically the big brother of this one. And I couldn't believe when I just changed the body without changing my setup, how much turn in the car has. My car was so happy. All day long, I was spending the time stiffening up the right front, trying to get the back end to stop chasing that. And that was racing loose dirt, so it was even harder to kind of get a hold of that. But it was amazing enough how much more turn in these things have. We have Rick ran it right away. He finished second with it. Lap traffic got him the best of him, and we had Jason Van Heist, I think, just had it out last week and I won with it. And his comments were just that it has just a ton of turn in, so which is great, but basically, based on these the UFO version, you might find you have to do some real considerable chassis adjustments on these things. I'm thinking that the body you might have used beforehand, you'll be a little bit closer because they're not that much different in that sense. But we got a nice little underlip here. What that does is, without having the cage in this one, it still supports it and is strong instead of like wanting to be like a flimsy rope.
Right.
Not only does it look right for the way cars are, but it does have it. By doing that, we also have a thicker post here in here, so there's more of an undercut. There's more of a strength point for that too. So Because you know when you're at a track, and you got marshals. What do the marshals do right away? This is a
That's right.
the car by the hand.
That's right.
They grab it sometimes. Not as much on these because we leave the windows in based off the rules, but like the UFO, we kind of cut our windows out a little bit, and that just makes this flex point even more so. But this extra lip here in the cut in makes this so much stronger than like the atomic body, on the SE versions.
Right. That's really cool information, and that's one thing I've always liked about the Shark Bodies is the even after the forming, you've got the thickness figured out, and after the forming and everything still stays nice, and strong and thick. And
sometimes you get a little bow out in the doors, and just a little insight on that. If you get the body and it's bowed out after you cut up the wheel wells, do not bend it before paint. Okay, because sometimes you can get microscopic cracks in the polycarbonate. And when you paint it, if you paint it too heavy, it can get in those cracks and it can cause a weakness. You realize one thing, chemical is paint, polycarbonate, when you deal with that, can be affected by that. So like if you paint heat or anything, if you have chemistry class, sometimes it's the right heat that can make something react. But same thing with this. But you can do this after you paint it because then there's, then it won't affect it. I do this with my drag bodies too. I bend them just to shape it.
Yeah.
All you have to do if you want to, you can just put a little crease, right along the door here and everything like that. And then, it'll hold it straighter. So when you first cut out first, you're just like, oh, man, because it has memory. It's a flat sheet. So when you form it, it wants to kind of go back to its memory. That's just one of those things that can happen or can't. If you paint your bodies like drag racing people do, they do as light as possible.
That's right.
Less chance because you're not puddling it. Unfortunately, on the dirt oval side, we have a lot of new people or impatient people or even me, and we just, it's not like this monogram model that you built where you're just, paint it and you're way too close to it, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm so proud of this body, and there's like dripping paint on the doors.
Right.
Lighter is better. So
that's right.
A lot of people know that, but some people watching this video might not know that. So, we got a few extra little features here. We got it's kind of hard to see, but right over here we got our little I don't know what you want to call it. Some people used to call them elephant ears and stuff like that, but right up here we have another little lip there. It just helps keep strength, and it just channels the air and holds the air into the car. Is kind of something we did a little different on the body, just so that they're not like a leg,
Right.
My goal is to have the Shark Body and not a clone of something else.
I got you.
Rules and everything, you end up with similar things, and you can't help something, but you do things that you try to make it your own,
Right.
More lean in, more, rig, or however you want to do it. So
right.
I'm really happy with the look of this one. So
yeah, it's an awesome car, Paul. And that something I've always kind of been curious about. With you doing the Shark Bodies and running that business now. You mentioned earlier that you actually had bought the business and you took it over, but kind of lead us up to that point. How were you involved with RC before you got Shark Bodies LLC, and what made you decide to take that over?
Okay, well, I guess this is a long story that I tell people. It gets pretty personal, so I'll go into detail just so people understand. It's not a pity party or anything like that, but if you want to know what happened is I raced RC cars for 11 years now or something like that, and I was a late bloomer. I started when I was 42. So basically my friend sent me a picture one day, and he's a sign guy, and he sent me a picture of a atomic body. Said, hey, like my new late model body, that's when they were really first up here anyway.
Right.
Putting the late model bodies on, SC10s. And I saw the picture, I'm just like, dude, this is just buy me one. I didn't even have an RC car, and I was getting a body going. So then I got hooked from that point. So I raced the atomic body, and it was owned by Steve Barton at the time. Steve was out of New York.
Okay.
He bought CNM from, I think, Mike Otten, and I think there might have been somebody else involved, but those were the early people into it. And there's a history behind where the names of the bodies are. Like the Nightmare actually came from the Newport Nightmare. Jimmy owns. So that's where the name originally came from, where the Atomic Body is, because they were originally out of Tennessee, Atomic Speedway. And then the volunteer, everybody's like, what's a volunteer? Well, it's a volunteer state, but there's also a volunteer speedway. Where the assassin came from, I don't know. But so anyway, so getting back to my story, I always get a little sidetracked when I talk. Anybody who knows who's talked to me, I'm a talker. So life happened. So I had a problem with my job, and my wife had gotten leukemia. And what happened was she basically, is a long process, and she did not make it. And on October 7th, 2017, she had passed away. And then on December 7th, 2 months later to the date, I was told I was losing my job. So after 29 years, they were just, they're moving the people out there, been there a while, how big business could be. So I kind of thought to myself, within, what's going to happen? Where do you see yourself when you turn 50 years old? You're like, I don't want to be a widower and also be jobless. So you're just panic point and everything. And I just sat back and I thought, well, I'm not going to put my life in other people's hands. So I know Steve Barton was trying to sell a business about 2 years before that, so I contacted him and see if he wanted to sell it. It just happened that he was downsizing. So,
okay.
Him and his wife decided they had the business for long enough, and they just maybe didn't want to do it anymore, the obligation. So it worked out that me and my brother we took a flight out to New York, and we hopped in a Ryder truck, drove from New York to Wisconsin, and I'll tell you what, that Ryder truck, excuse the expression, sucked. It was one of the most horrible rides I've ever had. Well, that's pretty much it. So like I said, maybe too much details for people, but people want to know the true story behind it. Why I did it is because I just, life has to go through things and process things. So the best thing to keep your mind healthy is to keep your mind busy.
Absolutely.
They got me busy, so.
Right. Well, Paul, I got to tell you too. I had no clue about that, so that's the first time I've heard that story in your background there. So allow me to express my deepest condolences. Like I said, I never knew that.
It's kind of one of those things. It's like people ask about the business, and it's like I don't feel it's like righteous to sidestep and just act like, oh no, it didn't happen. I just bought the business. It's actually the truth. So it's like. If somebody's sitting back, oh, pity party, whatever, or something, who knows how anybody thinks, but it's just, you want to know the reason. That's why I decided to do it.
Right.
I've been a fan of racing forever, since I was a little kid. So I was a late model guy. So,
right.
Which, I've had a lot of people, and I'm sure you're going to ask the next question, a lot of people ask about modifieds and stuff, and we can get into how you want to talk about stuff, but we can go there next, or however you want to go. You probably got your list of questions. So.
Okay. Well, and again, Paul, that story too. It's good to see the positive side of that you're having fun with it. It sounded like it was something kind of for a little bit of healing, and you got to expand on it. And you're having fun with it too. So that's good. That's good. I appreciate you sharing that. That was.
I'm an open book. Anybody who talks to me, I'm pretty much an open book. So you're not going to talk to me, and after a while, you're like, "Oh, somebody's just blowing steam." It's like, you want to hear it? You probably get too many.
Well, we've talked through Messenger enough, and picking on each other on Facebook posts over the past couple of years. So I know. Well, Paul, that does lead up to another really good question that I was looking forward to asking you, and to give you a quick. Rundown of the reason I'm asking this, and maybe it'll help explain my curiosity even more. I have an engineering and CAD background. I've done 3D modeling, AutoCAD, Creo, all that kind of stuff for many years. I'm more in a engineering position now, but I still do some CAD work and so on. How do you go about whenever you're coming out and you want to do a new body? Do you do the CAD work and the design work yourself? Do you have somebody that does it? What's the process you go through and so on?
I'd love to sit here and tell you that I'm a complete genius, but I'm not. So, unfortunately, as much as I like designing and doing stuff like that, it's my skill level is not there to do that. I know a lot of people have taken it on. A lot of people learn that process and move forward with it. I don't. I have somebody who helps me design. Actually, I've had a few people. And now we got somebody who's really super good. His name's Eric, and he's out of the West Coast area and stuff. And we sit on Zoom a lot. We do a lot of Zoom. But yeah, he helps do it. He takes my ideas, basically takes my ideas out of my head, and then with his head, and we kind of conform something, and we create what's my vision is. So
right.
So I would like to have done that, but it's a step. I'm pretty busy right now, just doing some of the other stuff that I can't imagine that I would have time to even sit down and design stuff, because it's not really an easy process to design.
Oh
stuff,
no, not at all. So coming from somebody that done it for many years, design work is not an easy process.
Yeah, and when you're looking at stuff like this, because when we design something, we don't have anything to start from. So
right.
It's like just from the ground up. I mean, you're designing this, and once you get a certain shape, it looks horrible until you start adjusting things and you try to move it around and everything. Of course, with anything, the more you adjust stuff, then the more you design that. It's like you're in an hourglass too.
Yeah. So, that's an analogy I always use whenever people ask me what I did for a living. I told them, I was a drafter, a CAD designer, did 3D modeling on stuff, and sometimes, people just didn't know what that was would ask. And I said, the easiest way I can tell you what I do is in a digital world through computer software, you basically take a block of clay and you scrape it away and you come out with your finished object, little by little, step by step, cutaway by cutaway, extrude by extrude, So that was a question I was really looking forward to asking, just because of my design background. That would be part of the aspect I would absolutely love, would be actually coming up with some of the designs.
Yeah. And, it's like, somebody can say, well, you don't do your own stuff or whatever. It's like, it's like the amount of input that I got in these things. The person wouldn't be able to make the body the way it is if I wasn't just giving one of our bodies that we just worked on now, a drag body that we're working on. No lie, I probably got like 10 hours of Zooms in with the guy.
Oh yeah.
Just to work things out and stuff, because it's newer for us with the drag stuff. There's way more side detail, and people want it to look like a real car, but yet we still have to incorporate body clearance, tire clearances, tire expansion, from the back of the car, and dynamics and everything like that, and you try to get all that tied in with what everybody's looking for looks. And all I can say is the new drag bodies, when they come out, if you're into drag, I know this is mostly dirt oval people, but they're cool. I mean, like this thing is just like a step up, and we're looking forward to it. So
that's awesome. That's very cool. That actually brings up another question, Paul. My channel, I kind of cover, I do tutorials and try to do helpful videos for new racers. I cover anything I do. I do drag racing, oval racing, various types of RC racing. And in the drag world and versus the dirt oval world, whenever you first took Shark Bodies over and made it your own, it was still very dirt oval specific starting out. Then you started whenever the kind of how the drag world started, people were taking slashes, shortening up some arms on them, and that's how kind of like NPRC was born, from my understanding. So guys were taking some Shark bodies and running them, and so on. You actually offer specific drag bodies now, and some of those I've noticed, like you've got like your Mustang body, which is set up for dirt oval, but then it looks like there's a Mustang for the drag as well. Is there is there something dimensionally different you do on the nose of those or something?
No. Yeah, no. Well, which brings me back to the point where you kind of brought up where drag racing started off. The way I see it, drag racers, maybe there's a divide between dirt oval and drag racers. There's some companies, Dustin, GFRP, he's involved in both. There's a lot of people, DE's involved, and there's some other people. It's just I can't off the top of my head, I'm forgetting people, but you know, there's kind of a divide between some people because the drag racers, a lot of drag people aren't like dirt oval. It's boring for them or whatever, you know. And on the other dirt oval side, you got people who are like, yeah, that's great. Let's go in a straight line, you know. But for me, it's racing's racing. So, either way you look at it, dirt oval started from a bunch of small companies that created something for a hobby, and it was small companies that built it.
Yeah.
And drag racing, similar in the beginning, is the same way. It's been built on small companies, and now the bigger companies step in. And part of my philosophy is, you know, the smaller companies are what drives it.
Yeah.
They're the ones that when you know the big companies are gone, the small companies are still there because most of the people that are doing the small companies are racers themselves.
Right.
So that's why I usually say support the small companies, because the big companies, when you go to their website, one day you might look for the body and you'll just see a big discontinued sign on it because, you know, they've used to market up what they needed to do or whatever. I know they're supporting it too, don't get me wrong. They're all part of the process too, but it's like just saying in the beginning that, you know, the smaller companies do that. So, you know, got a little sidetracked from what your original question is. As the bodies go, take a man named Daniel Judd from California reached out to me when Parma was starting to be hard to find for the drag racers. He saw my street stock bodies and he looked at them and he thought, hey, that kind of worked pretty good.
Yeah.
So he reached out to me and talked to me about doing drag bodies out of them, and I was a little reluctant, and I kind of just said no to him originally. And then about 3 months later, he reached out to me again and said, he really thinks we should, you know, pursue it. So we decided to give it a shot. Me being dirt oval from the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm not going to fully invest in drag racing, but let's just test it with this body if it works. So we started off with the Boss, which is basically the villain.
Right.
They're made out of thinner Lexan, and you know, they're chopped down different.
I got you.
They slam them down more.
So it is basically the same mold, just in a different thickness of Lexan, and the racers cut them differently, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the beginning bodies. The latter bodies that I got right now, they're drag specific. Everyone wants a little bit narrower body.
Right.
So, but you know, a lot of people understand, you know, they call them slab sides, you know. So they don't understand, you know, the dirt oval bodies we design, you know, stock nose, stock hood, stock roof, and this is supposed to be like somebody in their garage putting a flat plane on the side of their car, sheet metal, and riveting it on the car.
Yeah.
You know? So drag racers want side detail more so, and you know, flat sides can be aerodynamic too. But you know, they want that look. So, so the newer bodies have the side detail on them, and they're narrowed up because they were a lot narrower.
Yeah. I believe you're the Firebird, or the Trans Slam was the first body that you released that had some of the additional side details in the body.
Actually, no, the Scarecrow was.
The Scarecrow. The Scarecrow.
The Scarecrow's the GPO.
That's right. That's right.
We did our version of it, and our designer did the best he could because people were begging for the crow.
Right.
You know, and nobody was. We made it, and you know, guys like it, so I can't say anything about it. It's there. It's the body. After that, then we went on and did the Trans Slam, and you know, got a little bit more detail, more rounded body and stuff. Got a decent look. We just had the SoFlo Nationals down in Miami.
Yep.
Where they just had a big show that Kid Sims kind of produced and did. We just had I believe J Concepts Firebird won it, then a Pro Line Corvette, but we had the Trans Slam finish, you know, third. It's kind of, you know, third, fourth, however you want to look at it. You know, when you're doing your runs and when you get knocked out, it's like. So most people that go out even on a run, you know, they'll just pick the top pick or whatever. So we say that but I mean, we got down that bar so with somebody. So it's, you know, it's a pretty good body, you know, but it is what it is. You know, some people are, you know, the industry of RC racing is a lot of like, what is Billy running? I want to run this.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is just, you know, to get your mark in there is kind of like, you know, well, you gotta win something or whatever. We did good not this past year, but the year before. We did have one of the big shows, which was the Super Chips race. 2 years ago, James Dibble won it with a Shark Plum Crazy.
Okay.
Basically, the calendar body. So some people sit there and say, oh, you know how racing can be. Some people say, oh, Shark will never win a big show. And I just sit back and I'm like, keep my mouth shut. But I'm like, you kind of can't take it back if this happened already.
Right.
So, I mean, they're hauling butt. I mean, 2 years ago, everybody is shooting for 70 miles an hour. And then now this time in SoFlo, we had 2 cars went like mid-80s.
Yeah.
And 132 feet.
Yeah.
And that's fine up a 2-cell battery, It's not like 4 cells, it's 2 cells.
It's, Paul, it's
pretty.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, Paul. It really is. From whenever I went and filmed my first episode at Upstate No Prep, they're my local no prep drag group, and to where they're at now, in a short amount of time, it's crazy how much faster they've gotten in such a short amount of time. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I want to start saying that because of drag racing, I'm starting to see more money races pop up everywhere.
Yeah.
Even on the dirt oval side.
Oh, yeah.
Like a $3,000 purse for like a sprint car race, too. And I'm just like, wow, yes, it's not the hobby as much anymore. So, one second.
Yeah.
Now, this body was kind of a rough job. And it's not totally together all the way, but it gives an idea. And the wheels aren't on it, so it's basically it's my brick. So it's with drag body, so there's a big old battery on the front.
Yep.
But it kind of gives you an idea if somebody's looking at the body. And like I said, it's not mounted on the tires on or anything, but it kind of gives you the idea. This would be the cherry bomb, and it kind of shows you what the body is. Basically, this body here is the same body as this.
Right.
But it's just, it's cut way down. This is a wide body. I know people, I haven't done my little tricks like I do, like I do bender. I usually bend these in right here, and then I usually bend these back out.
Right.
And then I get it tucks this in, and then it flows this out.
Right.
You probably can see on my website, if you go look at the cherry bomb, you can kind of see the shape that I put into it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but Amanda from New Mexico, she painted this, and Sean Stanford from New Mexico, Solid Tech, I think that's it. I probably butchered that. Sean built me my car, so I'm not afraid to say somebody built me my car. The big thing lately is like, hey, I did 1.9 on my own built car. It's kind of like the big argument back is like, did you build your car? And it's like, you know what? I'd rather race my car and have a good run down there than if I can't build one of these things, which I don't know much about, and I go 5 feet and I end up in lid.
Right.
How much fun is that?
Right.
I have no problem saying I'll build my car, and it's fine. I'm happy. He can take pride if I actually would do halfway decent too that he built it. So
right.
It's the ego thing going on, So,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I just so everybody knows, I have not taken a drag racing hit yet. I have not gone down 132 feet yet. So we hope this is successful.
Paul, just keep this in mind, okay? In drag racing, you don't want to turn left.
Yeah, no doubt. Eh? It's like, things also happen a lot faster too.
They do.
But on the other hand, some of the drag racing people, they need to try to take a Form A heat and be successful without like spinning out the donuts, So you can rip on my drag racing skills, but I'm an okay dirt oval guy. So I used to be a little bit better than I am now.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time on this stuff and not a lot of tuning time and stuff. So sometimes when you sit out there and work in the shop and you're doing 12 to 17-hour days, depending upon what you're doing, just the next day you don't feel like sitting down and saying, oh, you know what, I just spent 17 hours working on building everybody's body. Now I'm going to work on my car.
Right.
You're like, maybe I just feel like sitting on TV and just watching TV for a while. So, watch a little Mav TV, you know.
Yeah.
Thursday nights. So.
But you know what's funny too, Paul? You said something earlier that caught my attention, and I've actually heard other racers talk about this. Some of my oval friends have, they like, yeah, the dragger racing looks cool, this and that, but I don't know about just making a sub 2 second, 3 second hit, then you're done. And I'm like, guys, do it just once. Because I was one of those people at one time too, at one point in time. And after I filmed a couple races, I was like, okay, I'm going to get one. If I'm going to be out here filming occasionally, I might as well have some fun. And I put one together. And once I got the car dialed in and started going A to B straight, I was like, this is so much fun. And I still love dirt oval. I mean, dirt oval is still like I guess you would call that still my true passion of RC. But I can go drag racing, have fun, touring car racing, crawling, paved oval, carpet oval, dirt oval, it don't matter. But a lot of people that get that mentality of one or the other, it's like, just go try it once. It's either going to be harder than you thought or more fun than you thought.
Well, and, part of the drag racing that's fun is how organized it is.
Yeah.
With the event and stuff. The money is kind of crazy. For what it is for toy cars, because these people are racing for as much money as stock car racers do. Actually, more than stock car racers. I think Soulful is $8,000 to win, but Topeka last year at the Redemption show, that was I think 19. Vegas last year was 18. I think ended up being the first to win.
Right.
So it's, you're talking a lot of money. So,
oh yeah.
Dirt oval people hear, that's 18 and 19,000, not 100.
Yeah.
Clarify that, if you're not into that, into drag racing, that some of the money is being tossed around. It's not. That's just the bigger shows too. But a lot of us in dirt oval, we just race for trophies. So.
Yeah. Hey, and like I said, I still love my oval. I can't wait for the outdoor season to open back up. I saw CJ. Just made a post today, actually, on Facebook, and it's looking like towards the end of March, we're going to be opening back up for some dirt oval action out here.
Some of us are planning on trying to come down here. We're going to do it this year, but we had a fellow racer who passed away, and he was going to go with us to the race, and none of us, once that happened, really had the heart for this. We didn't feel like it. So, but the group that was going to go, I think next year or this coming year, in fall, the World Championships, the Street Stock World Championships, that CJ at.
Yeah.
Is it Fountain?
Is it what?
Is it at the Fountain, the raceway, what's this track again? He runs 2 tracks.
Oh, yeah. He's got the Fountain Inn RC Complex, and then he's been the race director for the Hobby Connection at ERC. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it's at the Fountain Inn one, right?
The Fountain Inn, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we're planning on going down there, taking a road trip. It's a big drive from Wisconsin to South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
But by then, that time of year, it's starting to cool off by us, so it's kind of nice to go back down there and get to listen to everybody say, "What's up, Bubba?"
That's right.
and y'all, and then we can be like, "Hey, what's up, hey? Are you guys from the north or the south there?" So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That'll be edited out.
No, that's gonna stay.
Oh boy, okay. Just so you guys know, JB is gonna be doing some editing and some stuff he's leaving, and he's got the green light from me to leave anything. So if I make myself look like a fool.
Well, Paul, the nightmare body, has that been unveiled completely yet?
Yes, it's on the website.
Okay.
It's for sale, and it's running. It's in the process of being DODC approved.
Okay.
A lot of local tracks are they're running it. They don't have a problem with it. Trey Ford from the Chili Bowl Tech, he had one down at the Chili Bowl, and he's looking it over. And
awesome.
He's got to, we got to send it in basically to Rob.
Right.
To do that, yeah. So that's in the process of going to him, I think, this week. But Trey said unless something's really goofy or not, he didn't see really anything that didn't look right about the body. Nothing's like crazy extreme, you know. We didn't like do this, you know, bash down the roof and just, you know, it's meant to look like a car.
Okay.
You want to try to put your competitive advantage, you know, tweaking things here and there, and realistically, it's like when we designed this body, we tried to do it from a visual standpoint of a real car.
Right.
You know, and that's why your wheel humps in the front are obviously not the same. But in the past, you know, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, whatever, they were the same on both sides, but they kind of progressed to something similar to this.
Right.
Like with anything, bracing is super important. So, you know, as anything, some people get a body and they tend to tell me it broke right away. And then I asked him about it, and this happened at a track 2 years ago. A guy walked up to me at PT's race and I was racing there, and he's like, "Is there anything I can do to help this body from not cracking? Because both of his wheel pumps over in the front of the Joker body were broke. I actually had a villain body before. Anyway, they were broke right here. And the first thing I did was flip over the body, and I was like, they had a stock bumper on it and no foam.
Yeah.
I put my whole fist in front of the body, and I'm like, you're asking this polycarbonate in this 90-degree bend to absorb that shock.
Right.
And then this thing I try to tell people say, take your street car and then go on the road, go 25 miles an hour, because that's probably what you can get going on an RC car in a small dirt oval, you know, speedways. And then go hit the mailbox. And then show me your car that has no damage on it. It's going to mess up the front of a real car. So you can't expect something like this to handle, you know, shocks if you're not putting foam in here. Foam is the lifeblood of any RC body, you know.
Yeah.
How many people that maybe aren't even into racing and maybe watch this video, you got a Traxxas slash truck and you look at some of those things because they were bashing in their backyard, and the front and rear fenders are just flying everywhere. Right. So bracing is really critical. You can't, we're in the process of looking into doing some bumpers, especially with the UFO body.
Okay.
But the problem is with a lot of that stuff is now, you know, there are makers that do that, manufacturers, you know, out there that do them. You got so many different brands, you know, so you got to have the front end that fits this, front end fits that. So we're looking just probably doing like a slash for a starter.
I got you.
You know, it gets involved. We want to offer it to our customers to offer something better. I have a design right now that has my UFO body on, and I'm just like, I am like totally pleased with it. It's I already have a couple cracks in my front fender and stuff.
Right.
I repair it by just making an inner fender out of a piece of Lexan.
That's a trick I've used a lot too. Yeah, but if the foam, especially if it's a particular car, for example, like some of the late models, like the foam tire late models we got, we'll run like just a bumper that almost fills the nose of some of those cars. And even then, sometimes you're going to go in with some Lexan. Maybe you bend a tab up in the front and on the sides, or just a whole nother insert. And it's just for support on that nose. Because people, like, if you have nothing there, not only does it create a weak spot, like you were saying, in some instances, you can actually get some chopping in the track because of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. So good point there. Good point.
So we're trying to do that, put a little bit of foam in there and stuff, and the low density foam and stuff like that, high density. So it's not really heavyweight and stuff, and it's just I just got to get through it with time. It's just really hard when it's just me. So it's I don't know if people know this or not. A lot of people don't. They see Shark RC Bodies. We got a really awesome website. If you haven't seen it, sharkrcbodies.com. Go check it out. It's awesome. But just because you look at the website and you think that it looks really professional, it's done. There's still one man behind the business. So just because if you sit there and think, like, oh yeah, they're just like companies and stuff, and why isn't my order shipped yet and stuff? And I'm just one man shop. So,
that's right. And guys, just so y'all know too, what Paul's talking about in the website, I'm going to have a link to his website in the comment section of the video, or excuse me, the description. And I'm going to edit in during our talking earlier, whenever we were talking about the Nightmare. I'm going to go ahead and have that picture up so you can check that out too. So that way we can make sure you can check out everything that Paul's talking about. And it is, I do have to say, it is a very good website.
Yeah, it is. That Allie, my friend, she's from drag racing and stuff. Eric and Allie. I basically bumped into them through the hobby, and she has she's a graphic designer, so we were lucky enough to have her help out. And
that's
so,
awesome.
in other words, what's awesome about that is it's another person within the hobby that's helping somebody in the hobby, and that's like great, just like that. So
that's the help in the hobby is a very important thing too, along with making sure you're having fun and helping others. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely, yeah.
So Paul, I do got to ask you this, and I'm sure whenever I ask you this, that you're not going to want to go into too much detail about it, and that's fine. But I've got to ask, do you have some secret ongoing projects currently? And if so, would you be able to give us any details about them at all?
Yes, absolutely. I'd be more than happy to share with you.
Okay.
I'm working on a new body, and that's what we're working on. The funny part about it is I just won't go into detail. I see people posting bodies that they're making and everybody's project that they're doing ahead of time. And, that's good for publicity, and it shows off what you're working on. I really don't like to do that.
Right.
I basically like to just have my project being it's ready when it's ready. One thing I've always done, I did one mistake in life. I decided to follow the lead of another company, not another, but other companies. And I released a Trans Slam. When I did that, I took pre-orders. Well, the problem with pre-orders is you're taking people's money. So if you have any delays going in your project, which people won't understand,
right,
as much as you sit here, because they're on the outside now looking, where you're pulling your hair out, going crazy. They don't know that. So I won't do that. So no pre-orders. So when you see a body posted and it's released, there's 50 of them ready to go.
I got you.
So I don't release it that. So, but when you see that, it's like, you're excited. It's like, oh, wow, there's that body. Oh, wait, it's going to be in stock in 3 weeks. It's like, no, with Shark, you see the body, you order it, So that's one thing that I do. I believe that myself because I'm impatient. I hate waiting.
Well, you may be impatient. You may hate waiting, but viewers, go check him out on Facebook too, Shark Bodies LLC, because he is a pro at teasing and just messing with everybody when there's a new body announcement. You'll get a teaser and some details, and then there's hundreds of comments about people trying to figure out what's going on. It's always fun to follow those posts.
Yeah, I try to have fun with the hobby. So, some people are very serious-minded people, and I can be, but when I'm online and doing stuff like that, why not have fun? Because
that's right.
I can sit here, 20 hours of my day where things are really serious, where all of a sudden it's like, what, these supplies didn't come in? Or what's the problem with this material? What's the problem there? And, if you got to find an escape for it. So, sometimes I take my humor.
I always get a kick out of it. I always get a kick. Like I said, I know we've joked around in the comments section before too, and in Messenger and everything. So,
and that's the problem though, too, JB, when you deal with stuff like this, a lot of times, just like anything with an email, how it can be interpreted. It's like, before I'd be joking with somebody, next thing you know, somebody's mad at you because like, no, wait, I didn't even say it that way. It's like, no. Most of the time I ask people if they watch things that I rip on myself as much as like any other situation too. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have to give that disclaimer in some of my YouTube episodes because I'll poke fun whenever the opportunity presents itself, do a funny clip or whatever. But if I mess up and it's on camera, I'll be the first one to point it out and laugh at myself,
For sure, yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm actually getting ready to get another shark body in for myself. I promised my son. He made his first couple dirt oval races this past season. I'm going to take him out with me some more again this year. And I promised him, because he was running one of my used street stock bodies, which was a shark body. But I promised him, I said, we'll get your own body and paint it up however you want it this year. So you're going to be having a body coming to JB here soon as well, again.
All right.
So
just so everybody knows, we're going to charge you double.
Hey, that's fine.
No deals.
That's fine.
Though. Come on, let's find out what it is, because I know that like you used to be the caddy guy. You like the caddy body for a while.
I do, and I still love the caddy, especially on the dirt oval. What I like about it, and guys, when we're talking about this, like I said, check them out on Facebook. Check out their website. What I like about the caddy, Paul, is it's kind of in the middle, right? Like you have the Toyota Camry street stock, which has a very aggressive nose, and then you got the Camaro and Mustang. I'd say those are probably the lesser aggressive front ends, and the Cadillac body seems to be like a good in between the two.
Yeah, it does. I had a lot of people running it that do well with it. The Camry has really good turn in. It'd probably be good on a tackier track. There's a wide roof on it. There's not as much air getting to the rear spoiler, so it'd be good to loosen up the back end of the car and have good turn in. The hat trick is kind of a pushy type of body, which would be the Challenger body.
Mm-hmm.
The Camry is a zero. The Monte Carlo seems to be about the most neutral body.
Okay.
So if you wanted to run one, if you look at the front end of a Monte Carlo, most Monte Carlos go flat all the way to the front. If you look at ours, it goes flat and then it turns in a little bit.
Yeah.
In front of the fenders, so you don't have this big old brick in the front that you're pushing. So you're narrowing up the front end a little bit.
Right.
There's a little bit more. It's not raked, but we just took the real high flat roof off of it. We just moved it down, so it just had more of a racy look to it.
Yeah.
People like Rick Putnam have been successful with the villain body for how long, the Ford Mustang body.
Mm-hmm.
So I ran the Camaro, I won with it. I ran the Monte Carlo, I won with it. I ran the Challenger, I won with it. I ran the Camry, I won with it. I run with the Caddy. Yep. And then I have not raced the Mustang, out of all things.
Oh, really?
I think it's like basically the second body I made, and it just seemed like it skipped. I'll run one eventually, so I haven't run that, and I haven't run that shaggin' wagon. So
yeah, yeah. I started out on the Mustang, and then I gave the Camaro a try. And then whenever I went with the Caddy, I just instantly fell in love with that one. And I think I've ran 2, maybe 3 different Caddy bodies now, and with different paint schemes and such. I just really love that body.
That was designed for me.
Yeah.
I did the one that everybody wanted. You got to do Camaro, Mustang, Challenger.
Right.
After that one, then we're like, okay, let's do the Caddy. I said, because I wanted to do that for me. It's not like a body you normally would have saw out there, but I was like, I wanted to have something different.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's
the Monty after that. So
yeah, I absolutely love mine.
Then we got this, which you asked before. There's a new street stock body coming out with, and we're probably looking at this touch and go. Maybe 4 weeks.
Okay.
So it could be, we could hold it to 4 weeks. It could be 5 weeks. There's a couple of delays that could happen, or it could just be smooth straight through. So that's a Slash street stock body that's coming out.
Okay.
And then we got another little feature that's coming out. If anybody's seen the UFO body, we like to refer to that as real, because it looks super real. And then we have the driver and the whole interior in the car.
No way.
It has the helmet. Yeah. So if you see the UFO interior, it literally has the cockpit. And it's not just like a blank cockpit. It has steering wheel in there, and a couple arms and some shoulders, and you got a helmet that goes on the driver. We didn't do that with this body because this is more of a cutthroat type of class. People don't want the air blocking it because of the spoiler. On the UFO, there's more mass. You're a 12-inch wide body, so there's more air that gets in the spoiler. And I don't think it's as cutthroat as this class.
Right.
Otherwise, I would have done it for this body, but most of, it's one of those things. If I did it, everybody'd be like, well, I don't want it because this pushes too much air. Somebody else would do it, and everybody'd be all excited that it was done. But, for me, it's not. I got it on the UFO, and it looks really good. But, with that being said, there's one clue I'll let you out that I haven't let out to anybody yet.
Oh, so we are getting a little scoop right now. Okay.
Get the scoop. Here's the scoop. for this body right here. So the Joker, the villain. So let's just, if people don't know, the Camaro, the Mustang, the Challenger, which is a hat trick, the Zero, which is the Camry, the Hitman, which is the Monte Carlo. We have an interior for these cars.
Okay.
So it's going to be just like the UFO interior. So you're going to have a little driver in there, steering wheel, helmet, shoulders, and a roll cage inside there. It's in addition if you want to add to your body or purchase it with it. So if you want to make these real looking, then we're going to have that option for it. The buggy ones we're really not going to probably do, but we're doing it for this. So that I haven't told anybody about that until just now. First at JB. So,
well, hey, I appreciate the scoop there, Paul. I really do, and that sounds awesome. That sounds very cool. I know, like if you follow VTA racing like that, I think the true VTA rules. They don't necessarily do it on club level racing, but like the big VTA races, they got to have like the driver interior and stuff in those cars. It's actually part of the rules.
Okay.
Yes, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, yes, yeah. So we decided to do it. I just, I'm big into my slash street stock, so I thought that's a good one to do. The buggy stuff is, more national events sort of stuff. There's still a lot of tracks that run those, and like CJ's race is really big on these. So,
Oh yeah, yeah.
They call them super streets by you guys.
Right, they do. Yeah.
It's a little different. Everybody has a little bit different rules. So
yeah.
High center gravity chassis, Hobby Wing just stock 13.5, and I think you guys can run Banditos, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty much basically the rules. Over here in Wisconsin, we can run a low center gravity with ours. We have to run the stock tires. And then we also run the X5 and the 12 turn. So it's really more stock, but then we still open it up to like the low center.
Yeah.
Down in Illinois, which there's almost virtually the same rules that we have. They just allow the Banditos.
I got you.
So, but otherwise they run low center gravity. So, but like for us, if we want to travel to Illinois, it's a tire swap. I mean, it's a simple swap.
Yeah.
There's some people that complain about, can't the rules be the same? I'm like, if you got the rules so close that all you have to do is just change your tires, and you're traveling, you're paying as much money for one trip in gas, round trip, for a set of tires. I mean,
right.
It's like, okay, just, I've always believed, I know this with drag racing is cool because everybody follows rules across the country. And dirt ovals, this track runs this track runs that. And that's kind of a bummer in a way, but in a way it's good because a track has to run what the area wants to run.
Yeah.
So if they want to stay in business, you can't force people to do something because it'd be a drastic drop off. And I know there's difference in opinions on all that stuff, but ultimately the locals pay your bills. So if you conform to travelers too much, the travelers aren't coming back every weekend. They're not gonna, so it's tough. It would be great if it's all organized and stuff, but it's like on the other hand, it's a tough call.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So, it's like, we want to come down to their race. We have to basically change our car completely over, So, 1 second, JB, okay?
Okay, yeah.
This is where you'll cut, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so like I was saying, rules is a tough call because if you want to get in any typical argument for anybody in RC racing, all you have to do is say the curse word, and that's rules. Because if you do rules, you'll go on public social media, and all you'll see is just it's the word singing the world. Put it that way.
All right.
So, you want to take the term rules, but one philosophy I always said about rules. People said, if you make too many rules, you'll kill a class.
Yeah.
That's true, and I agree with that.
Yep.
But on the opposite side of stuff, think about this: if you don't have enough rules, you'll kill the class.
That's right.
So
that's right.
A happy medium. Where are you going to find a happy medium when you have 10 racers over here complaining about this, and 10 racers they're complaining about that, and it's like, being a race director or promoter, I'll take Bodies every day over running a.
I hear you.
They're being tough. I've been on the side of it too, It's like, why are we doing this, So I've obviously calmed down over the years too. So let's try to stay away from drama, just have fun, enjoy it.
That's right. That's right. Well, Paul, I think I pretty much got to ask everything that I had noted I wanted to ask specifically. I appreciate the scoop and everything, but I'd like to give you an opportunity to just kind of give you the floor. If there's some information or any shout outs or anything like that you'd like to do as well.
Yeah, I guess. I guess you can always give a shout out on. Two people that I deal with kind of exclusively with Shark RC Bodies are Rick Putnam of P3 Designs. Rick does a lot of wraps, does awesome work. He's out of Illinois. And No Limits Graphics. Brian Hone is out of Wisconsin, and I've known Brian for quite a while. I know Rick for quite a while too. Both of them are great guys. There's lots of good wrap guys out there. Studio 10, Turn 4. There's just, I can go through the list if I could even remember half of them.
Right.
They're all really talented people. I use these two people because I started to, and it's just it works for me. They each one of them helps me out, and they make window decals for me. Headlights. Sorry, headlight decals for me and stuff like that. So, they're really good companies to deal with if you're looking for a wrap. Otherwise, all I can say this much to you. Gonna stop moving my phone around. Sorry about that. I moved my phone around, and my battery went dead. In case everybody knows, but I had to go reach my phone. That's what I changed the thing. So now I'm bumping around. I'm sorry about that. Support your local people. Okay. I know that these people make good wraps and stuff, but if you're in the areas down south, there's a lot of different people that do this stuff, and I don't know everybody, but if you got some local people, post them on JB's post here. Put your comment down. Give free advertisement for your local guys that do wraps.
Absolutely.
Help pick up extra business for them because it's y'all work together in this, and it's you can help out.
Absolutely.
Besides that, in my car, I've been with DE now for 7 years, 7 years or something like that. So I really dealt with Dave and Chris a little bit from DE, and they're a really good company, and they're so good at supporting Dirt Oval. They're into drag too and stuff, but they really do support Dirt Oval well. You can go to any show, you can see that they sponsor stuff, and when it comes to the sponsorship thing, I always make a big deal about this, and not saying something for me or whatever, but support the companies that are supporting your races, because they're giving back into your racing. If people are not giving back into your racing, a lot of money is just going in the pocket or whatever, or maybe that's not just all negative. Is maybe they just have a lot of bills to pay and stuff like that. But the people that are supporting your race program, they're part of it, and they're helping the promoters get, if they're paying vendor fees or if they're just there, just in general for an event, they're helping and they're part of it. So.
That's right.
If you buy from people that really aren't in it, how are you giving back to your own hobby? Now,
right.
I'm not saying pleading for anybody. I said this numerous times because I used to get prizes for our local track. So I've dealt with a lot of places and stuff like that. So, in general, these people are taking money out of their pocket for your race. So it's not just like, hey, look, I got something free. It's just a freebie thing.
That's right.
Like they're doing it for a reason.
Yep.
So if you're at a race, man, I know nobody's going to take my advice on this, but you're at a race and you look over there and you see PE or something or whatever, whatever sponsor, MIP. Reach out to them on Facebook, on social media, and just say, hey, man, I'm at this race. I'm at the Street Stock World Championships. Awesome that you guys gave prizes. Thank you so much.
That's right.
You don't know what that does. If personally on me, if I got a message out of the blue, I'm like, one person even doing that. It's like, holy cow, really? Yeah, other than that, I support MIP, TBRC, Todd Bevitt Racing. Todd Bevitt makes, he basically supplies bearings. So, I know there's a lot of different bearing companies out there, but I deal with Todd. He's out of California. Good dude. Other than that, can't forget about my buddy, since he's down in your neck of the woods,
yeah,
Scooter Allison. So I've known Scooter for quite some time. I race for him. I call him Pappy. So whenever you see Scooter at a racetrack, call him Pappy.
All right.
He'll know exactly that you talk to me.
Okay.
Go on Facebook, say, "What's up, Pappy?" He's gonna be like, he's gonna grin. He's gonna damn that Paul. So, but yeah, I Papa Willie's is a big company. Scooter, he races for me too at Shark too. So we're good there. So we don't sponsor JB. JB tells us that he doesn't want to be stuck on any particular product because he reviews a lot of other people.
See, everybody, he's giving me a hard time right here too.
There you go.
And I've still got 2 cars with Shark Bodies on them, and he's still giving me a hard time.
Well, and that's the thing too. Pay attention, because I informed JB here, is that in the future, drag racing JB's into now too, so you never know. We may have a release and just be on JB's show. So we can talk a new body. We can show it. We can do a release when it's first released, or we can just do a review of the body when it's first released, and we can show the whole body. I can explain.
Oh, no, you let me know anytime I can help or help you unveil a new body. I would be more than happy to do so. Absolutely.
So we'd want somebody with, skill to do that too. So. Just kidding. Okay, here's where Paul's was a pain in the butt. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I appreciate it. I appreciate JB for taking his time. He has a life and a family and job, and he goes out of his way for the hobby to do this too. So you guys can watch these videos and that's everybody puts in their own little effort and stuff. And I appreciate this too because he's helping me. Promote my product and, promote me. I'm sure some people are watching this video and it's like, Paul's not a bad guy. Or there might be other people like, man, that dude just jokes too much. But yeah, it's definitely cool for the hobby.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah. So if you get, reach out to JB on his post and say, thank you, man, for doing this. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, Paul, I really do appreciate you coming on. I'm super happy that, you decided to say yes, and glad to have you on as my first. And like I said, I knew you would be a great guest just because of some of the fun we've had through Messenger and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
but most people watch these videos and stuff like this, and they find it a little more entertaining because I'm just not like, yes, hey, that's what the car does, So, but I haven't done a video like this. I've done a podcast before.
Yeah.
I've been like a side guest here and there. But this is, this is awesome. It's like
awesome,
yeah.
Awesome. Well, Paul, thank you again.
Look forward to seeing you at the World Champions down there. So let's see how.
Oh, I will. I've been to 3 consecutive races, so and unless something substantial happens, I will be there again. Absolutely.
Okay, well, we'll be putting you in the B or C main once we come down there.
Hey, I welcome it. I welcome it.
Just trust me, you'll be at the race, and when I'm in the C or D, you'll look at me and go, how's that evening going for you, Paul? I'll be like, oh, not so good.
I'll edit a video and rewind back to this moment and then bring it to current after the events of that race.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's right. You have this thing called the edit tool. Just so you know, I have something that works too.
Yeah?
It's called, I happen to know CJ fairly well. Money talks, brother.
That's right. That's right.
So if you keep going to tech and your car's illegal, hey man, I don't know how that's happening, JB.
Oh man. Well, it sounds like that race night. I better not even announce I'm going to be there and just show up as a mystery hired driver for somebody. Body.
So, okay, man. I'll let you go. So.
All right, Paul.
Good talking to you.
Hey, you too. And again, thank you so much for coming on the show. I greatly appreciate it, Paul.
Yeah, please just edit a lot.
You take care, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. All right.
Bye-bye.